Hi Stampers, it's Elizabeth and thank you for joining me on Stamp, Scrap and More. Last weekend I had the pleasure of attending the Stampin' Up's Fall Conference in Kitchener, and it was an amazing event. I'm really happy I went, and I'm happy I volunteered. I got to meet people that I wouldn't normally have met, and this was my swap. And I had promised those that I swapped with that I'd do a bit of a tutorial, and I've posted the instructions on the blog, but this is the video that kind of goes with it. So grab a pen and paper handy, and I'm going to give you some dimensions. This is a box card, and I've adapted it so that it fits into a standard A2 envelope. And it is 3 layers. The bottom layer and the top layer are identical in size. And it is 4 by 6.5 inches, and on the 6.5 inch side, it is scored at 1 inch and 5.5 inches. And so what I've used here is the bottom layer is Night of Navy and the top layer is Crumb Cake. My swap was actually Smoky Slate, but I ran out of Crumb Cake, so I ended up switching it to Smoky Slate, which also works. This was a class I had taught back in, what month are we in? October. I taught it in September, so it was based on the Beauty of the Season stamp set. So the middle layer is 4 by 5.5, and it is scored at 1/2 inch and at 5 inches. Sorry, so it's a 1/2 inch on either side. So it's 4 by 5.5, and it's scored at 1/2 inch and at 5 inches. You need 2 white pieces of Whisper White, and they are 4 1/4 by 3 3/4, and that is for the top, for the bird, and for the sentiment on the back. While I've got the bird out, the bird is stamped in the Memento, and it is colored with the Cherry Cobbler Blendabilities. It is the bird's beak is Daffodil Delight with a blender pen. The branches are baked brown sugar with a little bit of depth in the chocolate chip, and again the blender pen. The sky is sponged with Pacific Point. And then I took the Gorgeous Grunge stamp set, and I used this stamp, and I stamped all over in Versamark and then embossed it with white embossing powder. So a couple of tips on this. Try to keep the speckles away from the bird's head, and you can see here that the speckles sort of blended in with his eye, and I didn't like that. The other thing with this stamp set, I find that the eye kind of disappears. I'm going to show you on the eye kind of disappears, so I actually used a white gel pen and put the eye back in, and then just put a dot of black in the middle to put the eye back in. And that is it for that card. Oh, and the other thing is, if you want to use the Dazzling Details in Cherry Cobbler, put that on, put it on the branches, and then put it aside to dry for overnight if you can, because it takes a long time to dry. So that's the basis for the bird. I don't think I left anything out. When you stamp the sentiment, I use Cherry Cobbler again. I find the reds take a long time to dry, so stamp that and put it aside. So once your bird has dried, and all the Dazzling Details has dried, you can mount that to the bottom piece of your card, and you end up like this, and these 2 sides get folded up. Okay. Then you will take your Labels Collection framelits, and if I'm working from the smallest size out, this is the 2nd smallest and the 3rd smallest size. And what I did, I took the top layer and I ran it through the Big Shot, and I tried to center it as best I could. And then I took the middle layer like this, and I sort of nested it beneath so that I lined up the folds. And then I put the small framelit in there, and then ran this whole thing through the Big Shot, and that way I've got the 2 cutouts lined up evenly. When you do nest them, try to keep them together. If they get separated and you end up flipping one upside down and the other. This one's not too bad, but sometimes if they're not dead center, the images aren't going to line up. And I'm going to show you what I mean on this card. This is, you're learning from my mistakes. See this card? This is sort of a garbage card because I wasn't paying any attention and they weren't lined up correctly, so they're not on center. And I don't like that. The other thing is, when you're making this card, I put a little pencil mark where I wanted the top of his plume to go. And the reason being, oh no, this card I'll show you. See, I have a lot of duds. See this card? I didn't do that, and his image is too high up. And so this is another dud card. So learn from my mistakes. So I put a little pencil mark as to where the plume of his head needed to be, and then I stamped it so that he fits into the window of the framelit cutout. While I have this out, the other thing I did was I stamped it with Versamark and the Gorgeous Grunge stamp set. Again, I stamped all over the inside layer before mounting it, and then heat embossed it with white embossing powder, and that way you get the snowy look on the inside layer as well. Okay, so easy peasy, right? So now let's put this card together. So this is the inside layer, and you would have stamped in the Versamark and the Gorgeous Grunge. So fold these flaps towards the back and put a piece of sticky strip on that side and on this side. And then this is in the back layer of the card, and you're going to line the edge up. So you're going to line the edge up, the edge of the inside card with the crease, like that. Pull the sticky strip off and then seal it. And then you're going to roll this back like that. And then this line, or this edge, should match right up to that fold mark. So you're going to pull off that sticky strip and you're going to fold it like that. And then you're going to have a card that looks like this. And here's the one that's done. And you're just going to rotate it left and right, and that way you're training the card. You don't want to have any big buckles. You might get a buckle on one way, but the other way, see, it's fine. So just as long as you get it okay on one end. Ultimately, it should not buckle on either end, but if it does buckle on one end, as long as it folds flat on the other end, that's okay. So that is how to assemble the inside layer. So now the outside layer, this is here. Oh, and the other thing that I did was I took the chocolate chip and just the stem of the that's in the stamp set, and I just stamped four stems on the card before assembling it. So I haven't done on this one, but I would just stamp 1, 2, 3, 4. And then on this one, what you're going to do is put a piece of sticky strip, score tape, or whatever you have, butt it up right against that line. Don't put it over the line, but just butt it up against that line. And depending on how thick your sticky strip is, you'll probably have to put a piece down on this edge as well. And again, when you're doing this, make sure that the windows line up. You're going to take this layer and you're going to butt it up right against that fold. So it's right up against that fold. Pull the sticky strip off here and fold it down like that. Then you're going to roll it, and you're going to put sticky strip again. You can put on this side, but just butt it up right against that line, and then here, and then you're going to fold it over like that and seal it. And when you're done, your card will look like that. And so again, just rotate it left and right and make sure that you've got the card trained. Then what I did was I took just the Peace and Joy from the Good Greetings stamp set, which I'm really ticked at myself because I've left it at the hotel, and I've just left a message with housekeeping to see if they can find it. So keep your fingers crossed, because I love this. I love the stamp set, and I know it was a hostess set, but I had said to the girls last week that it was one that I would never sell off when it retired. So And on the Peace and Joy, I just put a little bit of a dimensional on the bottom, like a half a dimensional, because I didn't want to put it up too high, because then it would, I don't know if you can see, it would get stuck when you put it into the envelope. So just put the dimensional on the bottom. And then I just put a diamond and colored it with the blendabilities. I didn't do that on the swap, but you can do that just to bling it up a little bit. So there you go, folks. That is my box card from Stampin' Up's Kitchener Conference. And if there are any questions with the instructions, let me know. And written instructions are also on the blog. Just check the post below. Have a great Thanksgiving, and check back soon. Thank you.